So here's what I'm doing. I'm making a roguelike game with a twist, but the problem is I don't really know what that twist is yet. I've got some ideas, nothing's concrete, but I can't keep procrastinating and not building the game until I figure out what the twist is going to be. I need the bare bones of a roguelike game in there to start, so over the Christmas break, that's what I've been working on. I stripped this thing back to the absolute basics just to make sure that I was making progress, because the things I'm about to show you, I'm going to need for any roguelike game that I decide to make. So, I mean, first of all, you need a world, don't you? So I had to go about making a world. So for that, I used a 2D grid map. So first thing I added was land tiles. So land is black tiles, and the blue tiles that you see here are water. So the player will be able to walk on the black tiles, and they won't be able to walk on the blue tiles. But then I need to make the land tiles a wee bit more interesting. So I added another tile map on top of the grid. So now there's two tile maps, so every tile is either going to be land or water, and then on top of that we'll then have another sort of tile which might be able to be navigated. Trees here, which are the green sprites, can't be walked through, but this white one here that you can see is a cave, and that will teleport you to the other end of the cave entrance basically. Next thing that I need here is a player, so I added a player. How fancy is that? The pink sprite is the player. There's more to this player that you can't see at the moment, but will this work? Yes, it will. I can move using the arrow keys. Basically, that's all I did there. Able to navigate the world. I did go, I'll show you that you can't walk through trees and you can't walk on water, but you can walk through this cave entrance, which takes you to the other end of the cave, which still needs to be fleshed out, but I just wanted to get that in there so that I had a sort of working proof of concept that the caves do work. Next thing that I'm going to need are enemies. And initially I went about this in a way I didn't like. I programmed a very simple enemy AI, which you can see here is the red square, and all that is doing at the moment is it is targeting the player. It uses A-star pathfinding, and it's moving towards the player, and then once it's in an adjacent tile, you see at the bottom here attacking the player. Maybe you can't see that, it's very small, it's in the console. It attacks the player. Just a wee bit too plain. I didn't want it always attacking the player, I wanted there to be an aggro range. So you can see here the enemy isn't navigating to the player because I'm not within its aggro range, but it's also not just standing still, it's wandering. So basically it's got a wander radius, and it will move around a certain radius of tiles before it moves back if it goes outside of that area. And you can see here I've got close enough to aggro it, so it's moving towards me now. But if I go back outside that range, I don't know if I'll be able to. I think he's caught me now. But if I go back outside of that range, he'll just start wandering again, but he'll move back to where his initial wander position was, which is where he started. Now what came next? Well, I wanted to give these AI agents, as I'm calling them, some stats, some character, because they're all going to be like monsters or people essentially in this world. So I added this scriptable object which stores all the data, and all the data relating to AI here, AI players, AI agents, is going to be stored in this scriptable object. So you'll see here like statistics, so HP, damage, stats, etc. The aggro range that I spoke about is here. The attack range, so if it's a ranged attack or if it's a melee attack, the name, description, all that kind of jazz. Factions I'll go on to in a minute as well. That's really interesting. Basically I wanted the game to be as sort of modular and open-ended as possible. So what I did by, let me just pause that and play it again. What I did by adding those factions in is instead of having just enemy AI and then friendly AI, as you'll see here. Oh shit, I've just killed him. I can't talk to him if he's dead. Right, let me restart again. So I can talk to wee Jimmy, or I can't because I'm unfriendly with his faction. Give me a minute. Right, every time I go to record this video, something goes tits up. So let me show you. So we've got wee Jimmy, and I can talk to him. I can enter conversation. Hello, goodbye, bye. And then I'll just end my turn. So basically, instead of having like friendly AI and then unfriendly or enemy AI, which is what I initially had, it was two separate classes. They're now all part of the one class, but there's a decision tree in there which checks if the faction that they're associated with, which you can see here, this is what a faction is. It's basically, it's got a name and it's got a starting reputation. And if the starting Well, the starting reputation is how it starts, obviously. Starting reputation. As you kill members of that faction, the reputation will go down. So if this goes under 0, you're classed as an enemy of that faction. So if that went under 0, I couldn't talk to wee Jimmy. And wee Jimmy would probably try and come after me. He'd try and batter me, try and give me a doing, so he would try and kill me. And the way that I designed it that way because I didn't want just having static enemies and static friendly units. I want to create a sort of world or a sandbox where the player, you know, they can go about the generic RPG route of kicking about the town, picking up a quest and going and killing enemy monsters, or if they want to, they can just be a complete bastard, walk into the town, punch a granny, get the guards coming after them, kill the guards, go on the run, and align themselves with like a bandit group or something like that. I just kind of want to have it as modular and as sandboxy as possible, so that was why I designed it that way.